What's up, everybody, and welcome to my Rob Zombie film ranking video. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking here. I really do appreciate it. So I will be covering every single one of Rob Zombie's live-action movies from worst to best. I have reviewed every single one of his movies, so if you hadn't checked those out yet, please do so in the comment section down below. I have them posted. Check those out when you can. So I've said this throughout this review series. Rob Zombie has become sort of those frustrating directors, where he's awesome as a director, his direction style, and just the way his style is in his movies. But he lacks in the writing department. He really, really lacks in the writing department. He just can't seem to put that pen down. I mean, it would be different and maybe a little better. No offense to the man. Again, I adore him, and I think he's a really great director, but as a writer, not so much. Because he writes everything, and that's part of the problem. Or a major part of the problem. Again, he just can't seem to put that pen down. But I respect the guy. When he sets out to do something, he does it. And he makes what he wants to make, and screw the opinions. I respect that. To my core, I really do respect that. So without further ado, let's start this ranking by starting off with number 8, the bottom of the barrel, the lowest of the low, House of a Thousand Freaking Corpses. This one was by far the worst movie I've ever seen in my whole entire freaking life. Characters were dull. There's not a single person in this movie that I cared about. They were too cartoonish. Some of the dumbest decisions ever in horror film history. The editing and the light was very poorly done. There's just not a single enjoyable moment other than the robbery scene at the beginning and Sid Haig. The rest of this movie can pretty much go screw itself. It's just not enjoyable at all, and it just wasn't the best start for Rob Zombie. Even he claimed so later on. So, number 8, House of a Thousand Corpses. Coming in at number 7, The Lords of Salem. Now, this is one of those that the rewatch value has always felt slim. Ever since it came out back in 2013, I first watched it back then. It never really appealed to me. I never found the appeal, sense in it to where I could say that this was the greatest movie that he's ever made. But it just never appealed to me. It had potential. There's some creepy hallway scenes and just dark scenes in general. The film was lit up all right, but it's just one of those that never really appealed to me. Dealing with witches, and you have this whole thing where you have not a single death scene. For a movie that deals with witches, you'd think it'd be blood-soaked, but no. You get one death scene, and that's it. Plus the fact that you don't care a single bit about the main character in Sharon Moon, to where this is the film to where I pretty much guesstimated that this woman cannot act. She just can't act. And she did a lot of things in this movie to where, why would you care about her by the end of it? So, yeah, again, film had potential, but it just fell flat around every corner. So, The Lords of Salem is at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is 31. Now, this one hit me like a freight train. This one was the one where Rob Zombie took off all the gloves, and you see his writing skills and just all-out filthiness. This one had one of the worst dialogues in the history of Rob Zombie's films. The gloves were off. I mean, it was just full-on Rob Zombie. I mean, this was Rob Zombie at his worst. However, I did enjoy the story. I liked the whole storyline about these satanic cannibals kidnapping this group of friends, forces them to play this game of 31 of just survival, murder, and torture. I like that element because it gave a really good slasher element, which is something that I enjoy. I enjoy a lot more than what Lords of Salem brought. The rewatch value of this, setting that whole filthy dialogue aside, it just enough to want to make you take a shower afterward. That's how bad it was. The rewatch value on this was a little bit higher and was a little bit rewatchable for the slasher element and the story alone. So just mute your TV on the dialogue part and you'll get along fine. Plus the way they pulled a whole 180 scenario with the Sharon Moon's character, which at first she was so annoying, and then they just pull that 180 on you to where she becomes a pretty good final girl, a pretty cool final girl. And that was one of those surprises that kind of bumped this to number 6 instead of lower. So 31 is at number 6. Coming in at number 5 is 3 from Hell. Now this one was a little bit of a toss-up. I was very close to putting this one at number 6, but because of the filthy dialogue and just the all-out bad writing of 31, this one deserved to be a little higher, a bit better received. This probably would have been at number 6 instead. 3 from Hell seemed like an alright film, but where it falters for me is it didn't feel that necessary. It didn't feel like it was a film that should have existed. With this being a sequel to The Devil's Rejects and how awesome that movie was, spoiler alert, 3 from Hell just felt moot, and it just didn't really appeal. It didn't really give that sense of, like, what purpose is this? Because most of the movie just felt like a retread of The Devil's Rejects, only a poorer version of it. Like a remake, rebooted version of it. Only in a poorer sense. I mean, the film is okay. 3 from Hell was okay, but it just didn't feel like it had that much of a place. Plus, it didn't help the fact that they took 14 long years after the release of The Devil's Rejects to where a lot of time has passed and it just felt like nobody cared. And that this was just a casual cash grab. So 3 from Hell is at number 5. So coming in at number 4 is The Munsters. Now I may be on an island with this because rolling into this I knew that the critical reception for this movie was pretty at an all-time low. And I get why, but I didn't really mind this adaptation because I am pretty lenient when it comes to this sort of material, especially dealing with an old classic. I won't deny that the film had problems. The film had problems. The jokes weren't that funny. They were very outdated for the most part. Jeff Daniel Phillips' portrayal of Herman was bleak at best. Plus, I hate feeling like I'm constantly down at her, but Sharon Moon could not act to save her life as Lily Munster. She didn't bring anything new. But I did like the guy that played Grandpa. He really brought the rain in this film. And I loved the way that the movie looked. It was a very beautifully shot movie. By far it looked like one of Rob Zombie's most expensive films to date. Characters really popped because of that. It's just the all-around look and feel of this movie was done really well. It was very beautiful to look at. I like the whole origin story on how Lily and Herman met. And I like the whole story about how Herman was created, which you get a lot of that in the 60s show, but you never see. I really did appreciate that aspect of this film. And again, the film looked amazing. But could have been better? Yes, of course. But I've always been much more lenient than most. So The Munsters is at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Halloween. Now, I'm one that never really had a problem with what Rob Zombie has brought to Michael Myers. I would say that if you watch my ranking review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, I would say that this was kind of like the remakes to those, close to how I felt about the remakes to those movies, to the 2003 and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning in 2006. With Rob Zombie's Halloween, I would say that it's pretty close to how I felt about those movies. Now, I understand why a lot of hardcore Halloween fans would get pissed off about it, would get upset about these. The whole backstory with Michael wasn't really that necessary because it kind of did take away from the emotionless and darkness of the character and the mystery of the character. But again, I'm someone that's very lenient, and it's just the way Rob Zombie has presented Michael Myers himself, especially in Tyler Mane, I never really had a problem with. To be honest, just like I said with the guy that played Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes, I always thought Tyler Mane as Michael Myers was the most brutal. And he nailed it. He got it as close to the modernized version of the character that I wanted. I think it was very compelling. Kills were pretty decent. And again, it just sort of felt up there with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes. So Rob Zombie's Halloween is number 3. Coming in at number 2 is The Devil's Rejects. Now, this is a film that really showcased how Rob Zombie is as a director. After the horrible reception of House of a Thousand Corpses, this one really redeemed Rob Zombie as a filmmaker. There's much better characters all around, a much better presentation of the Firefly clan, of the main villains. It didn't feel as cartoonish. I loved the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe, the whole TCM look that this movie brought out. The whole revenge side of William Forsythe's character just gave it that zest to you really get into the characters. You had more of Sid Haig and the more of the chemistry between the Firefly family. And it really stuck out more than that abysmal house film. It's just so much better. So much things happen in The Devil's Rejects to make you realize that this was really the better out of the three, out of the Firefly trilogy. So The Devil's Rejects, number 2. So coming in at number 1 by default is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now I said this before in this film series review, especially in the review for that film. This is by far one of Rob Zombie's closest to perfect films he has made. Now again, I know a lot of Halloween fans were pissed off, especially when he got to this one. I understand y'all's beef, I really do, but I really can't back down, and I'm sticking to what I'm saying here. I thought this one was his best yet. And if Tyler Mane didn't impress you enough in the 2007 remake, wow, he took off all the gloves in this. The way Michael Myers was presented and how brutal he was, the kills was much gorier. There was a lot of insert shots of him stabbing people, and one scene where he cut this person's head off just slowly, and all the gloves was taken off in this one. Like I said, the kills were the goriest I've ever seen to this date in a Halloween film as a whole series, as a whole franchise. I like the whole psychic plot, side plot between Laurie and Michael, plus experiencing Michael's psyche, see what goes on in that evil little head of his. It was just awesome. It was just awesome, and that's why I'm saying Halloween 2 at number 1. Well, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this film series review. It was a lot of fun. I had fun doing it. So what is your favorite Rob Zombie film? What is your least to most favorite? Are you a fan? What is your favorite song of him? Leave me a comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys. And once again, for watching this video, I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And make sure to click that bell icon as usual so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.